We're looking at attitudes and emotions during this module, and so I thought I'd take a little bit to talk to you about emotional intelligence. When we talk about emotional intelligence, it refers to the ability to perceive, assess, and positively influence one's own and others' emotions. So it's about having control of your own emotions, but it's also being able to assess and positively influence the emotions of others. And you can see that this could be quite important for people in management positions. You're often trying to get people to do work that needs to be done, and that can be frustrating at times for other people. And negative emotions can often keep things from being accomplished. And so managers need to have a certain degree of emotional intelligence in order just to keep things running in an organization. There's different models of emotional intelligence. One that's widely accepted has 5 dimensions, one being self-awareness, okay, understanding and being able to read your own emotions. The other is managing those emotions, being able to react to your emotional impulses. A third dimension is self-motivation. This is being persistent in the face of setbacks. A fourth dimension is empathy. Empathy is being able to sense how other people are feeling. And finally, there are social skills, being able to handle the emotions of others. So I thought I'd just give a few tips on how to control and enhance your emotional intelligence. And one of these things has to do with your self-awareness. And I think it's important to understand that emotions are a natural part of the human experience, and that they're not all bad. Oftentimes our emotions can be good signals to us, but we have to understand that they can have a physiological reaction on us that might impede our ability to use our other faculties, like our rational side of our brain. In fact, there are different parts of our brain. Some parts are more associated with rational thinking, such as the neocortex, the front of your brain, and the emotion center of your brain is more in the middle. It's an area called the amygdala, and scientists who study evolution believe that this is a more primitive part of the brain. When we think about emotional intelligence and being aware of ourselves, we have to be aware when that amygdala is taking over. When we get in those experiences where we're getting that fight or flight kind of sense, that's what we think of as an amygdala attack. And so it's really important that we be able to develop a sense of when we are experiencing that by taking our emotional pulse. So are there cues? And different people have different cues. Maybe it's the back of your neck getting hot. Maybe it is you tensing up in your shoulders. Maybe it's a funny feeling in your stomach. You need to be able to identify these cues and use these cues as a way of saying, oh, I better think about how I'm reacting at this time. So the physical cues that we associate with negative emotions are very good to understand, because those can be times for us to wait and pause. And that's one of the best recommendations for another dimension of emotional intelligence, self-management. Just pausing. There's a good formula called pause, then solve. And so oftentimes when we get these cues that we're experiencing negative emotions, it's good to take a time out to pause and maybe take time to plan and prepare how we're going to respond. We can visualize a better response than one that might be driven by emotions. So some other things that we might be able to do. One, in terms of empathy, understanding how other people feel. Here I think it's important to understand one of the errors we often make in understanding other people. And one of the most common errors we make in understanding other people is called the fundamental attribution error. This is where we underestimate how much influence situational factors have over people's behavior. And so when we see people and we're trying to understand why did they act that way, why are they behaving in that way, we tend to draw the conclusion too quickly that that's just the type of person that they are. When in fact, there may be some very legitimate situational factors that are in play and that we need to investigate and understand to understand why they're acting that way. So to do better at understanding others and have a better sense of social skills, we should really think about the situation that other people are finding themselves in. So these are just some tips on emotional intelligence, and I hope they serve you well, and I hope you're having a great week. If you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. Thanks.